I started to notice that the left side was starting to, it was like a pain. I had a pain, the left
Yeah.
side, so I could tell that that was part of my tube that
Right.
was unblocking. So a bit of a strange sensation.
Yeah.
So I continued using that, but you get to a point where you're not progressing.
Yep.
So I did start to recover from certain things. I went to the doctors. They said, looks like you're healing, your ears are healing, which I thought
Oh,
was a good
okay.
sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I still had the tinnitus.
Yeah.
Um, it's almost like different types of tinnitus that you can probably get from acoustic trauma, like
Right.
nerve damage, maybe.
And then
Um,
after you, so are you seeing like, are, like what type of doctors are you seeing? Like ENTs or uh allergists, or mostly just ENTs, I'm assuming?
I did, yeah, I did. I saw an ENT specialist.
Yeah.
But I saw the ENT specialist after
Got
I
it.
had the issues, so which meant a lot of it was resolved. I had an MRI scan, and that was all fine.
Wow. Okay.
So
Wow.
I have, I've had like thorough checks, and they were all fine. He even checked my ears. He said couldn't see any damage or anything.
Right.
So it's more kind of like the circuitry part of it, the auditory part of it that you
Right.
can't see. Is what you can't see.
Yep.
So, you might go to the doctor and say, oh, we can't see the problem, but that's because it's not connected to what they can see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest, I think that's like the biggest unknown for a lot of people is it's hard to treat something you can't see, you know? And no,
Mm.
so in that month, I mean, you've been extremely like persistent of trying to figure this out because I want to say you've done a lot better. When I had it, I was, I was being a little, it's not that I was not, it wasn't bothering me. It was like I was trying my best, I guess, to just let it go naturally. And it just wasn't cutting it. Eventually I had to just give up and say, I have to go see people. I have to go see doctors. I have to go get this. So I'm really, really like, I'm noticing that you were like, hey, I need to do something about this now. Like I got to go figure out what this is. And you did a lot. I mean, you're a lot faster about it than I was. I was really trying. I don't know why I was waiting for it to just go away the next day, and it never did. So the fact that you've done all that in a month, I mean, that's, I know you've been through a lot with that. I mean, just simply just going back and forth, seeing all these different people, or the different doctors and X-rays and scans, and I mean, I mean, are you
Mm.
so like at this point, do you have anything else, any other appointments scheduled at all right now at this point, or you're kind of just like, well, I don't know yet where to go from here?
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, I've got a couple of tests booked in, um, but I don't really know where to go from here, really. Um, so I guess it's just trying different things, and if you have damaged part of your system, from music or something as related to that. It could even be sinuses.
Oh
Or quite
yeah,
often you need to give it time to heal.
right.
But I'm the type of person where, because I do so many different things, I need to just
Yep.
get back doing it.
Yep. Yep. And that, and have you
It's
noticed
hard.
like during that time of, have you had any like off balance feelings, dizziness, anything like that? Kind of like this
Yes, yeah,
equilibrium.
yeah. So I did. I felt quite dizzy,
Yeah.
especially the early stages of when I was going through it. I did go into hospital.
Oh, okay.
So it was, a back and forth, even out of hours as well.
Yeah.
Got medication, antibiotics, which actually helped.
Mm, yeah.
So they said, this will treat the bacterial infection if you've
Right.
got that, which I think I did,
Yeah.
but it might not treat some other part. So it might be
Yeah.
two different parts that you don't know.
Right.
So you could treat one part, but then not the other.
Prior to this,
Mm.
have you ever had any ear related issues at all, or no? I mean, this is kind of like prior, like I'm saying, like maybe even in the 5, 10 years of your like of your life, have you ever had any ear issues at all that you can think of?
Not really. I mean, I've always been sensitive to sound.
Yeah.
I always been sensitive. I had a bit of tinnitus from an accident a long time ago, but that kind of started to resolve itself over the years. So
Yeah.
really, I haven't had anything
Right.
since, I think since I was like 19.
Okay. So nothing that really will
No, it was
that
just
could come
more
from.
like more sensitive ears to music, to general sound.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And that's the thing, Natasha. Like I try to when I first had it, it was it was definitely it was like a shock to me at first because it was weird. It was like it felt like it was just at first, at the very beginning, I mean, so far I haven't heard you mention anything about like noises, like clicking sounds and swishing sounds or anything like that. Oh my gosh. I mean, I had that majorly. Like it
mhm,
felt like someone was near my ear all the time, like just snapping near my ears all the time. I'm
mm,
like, and just think about it. Like, imagine just walking around, doing your normal thing, working, going to school. I mean, at the time I was, working. It was just like it was horrendous. It was just like someone was always clicking near my ears, and every time I would
mm,
turn, I would hear the swishing sound. And then it was like after a while, I was like, okay, I could probably tolerate that a little bit. Oh, and then it got worse after that. And see, that's probably what I should have done, and that's why I don't think yours is going to last very long. Because I kind of have this mentality when I was a little bit younger. I'm much more wiser now. I hope. I mean, I hope much more smarter now. But I was always like, it'll go away if you ignore it. It'll go away if you ignore it, and
yeah, yeah.
that's a
Don't
terrible
we all think
mentality.
of that, don't we?
Yeah,
When
we
we're
do,
young.
we do, and it was not. I mean, when I had it, I was probably. I mean, I was still too old to be thinking like that, but I think I was probably 25, and I was like, that's all right. It'll be all right. I mean, it's annoying, but it'll go
Mm,
away. And I realize now, flash forward 10 years later, 11 years later, there's no way I would. There's no way. I mean, if something starts clicking and swishing in my ears, I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna figure this thing out. So
yeah,
the
yeah.
fact that yeah, the fact that you're staying on it though, I mean, and what's really special to have you here today too is that you're not telling a story from the past. You're telling a story from the present, and I think
Mm,
that holds a lot of power in you
mm,
to know that you're actually going through this now and you're talking about it. You're actually like sharing your story while trying to still troubleshoot what's going on. So just on a day to day, like, would you say? And I just always like to ask this question because I mean I'll tell you what my answer is after yours, but do you find that it's worse when you wake up, when you go to bed, or is there any decipher between the two at all, or do you notice any increases
Um,
throughout the day?
for me, I think in the morning, I
Got it.
notice it. So yeah, I can relate to the swishing sounds, the clicking, and the popping. I still have popping,
Yeah.
even though my tubes don't feel blocked, but sometimes they do. It's a weird sensation. But then
Hmm.
also have like these musical notes, so it's like it feels like music
Yeah.
is in my ears, and
Yep.
it's really. So I don't know if you experience that, like music
Oh
in your
yeah.
ears. It feels like like you're listening to music from far away, but it's in your ear.
Yes. Yes.
It's really really odd.
It's odd, and you can't really explain this to a lot of people because a lot of people don't really. I mean, they can kind of relate sometimes. I mean, they can relate to something being annoying, but they can't really fully grasp what we're going through. They can't really fully understand that, and it's like I did have signs. A lot of mine was like and I was always like looking around, like, is there a machine running somewhere,
Mm,
something? And I'm like, no, it's just me here, and it is so odd. And I always tell a story in my book. I wrote you know, I, of all things to write about, Natasha, I wrote a book about this thing. All right, and for me, it was like I was sitting. I just remember sitting in the emergency room, and I don't think you'll ever get me to the point where you feel like you need to go like severely go. I mean, I was at that point where I literally jumped off my couch and ran to the emergency room. I was just so bad, and I remember sitting there at 3 in the morning. I was just like, if I ever get through this, I don't wish this on my worst enemy.